Hi, and welcome to Closed Cases, a new program featuring interesting crime stories from the files of the United States Postal Inspection Service. I'm Andrea Avery, United States Postal Inspector. Our first story is one that starts off with the report of a missing person. Missing person cases generally don't pop up on the radar of postal inspectors. But when Los Angeles Division Postal Inspector Lyndon Versosa received a call from the LAPD for help in locating a missing person, it turned out there was much more involved.
In October of 2021, neighbors reported Charles Wilding missing. LAPD responded to the home and found a woman, a 44-year-old woman named Caroline Hurling, living at the home. She identified herself as a close friend of the family and of Charles Wilding. She stated that Charles had moved from Sherman Oaks to a place in Carpinteria, California. This turned out not to be true, and Caroline Hurling turned out to be an identity thief and much more.
But an anonymous caller gave detectives a tip saying unidentified individuals are utilizing his identity for financial gain.
Caroline Hurling and her partners would go to affluent neighborhoods, and they would look for homes with unkempt yards or algae-filled pools, which was indicative to them of an easy victim. Caroline's partner, Jason, found just that type of home in a really nice neighborhood in Sherman Oaks, California. Jason broke in and found a dead body of Charles Wilding. Rather than reporting his death, they left the body to decompose while they looted his house, his assets, and his estate.
After Hurling found out about the police investigation into Wilding's whereabouts, she executed an elaborate scheme to ensure his body would never be found and his death would remain unreported.
Hurling forged a power of attorney form, making herself the trustee of the Wilding estate. Local police show up to Charles Wilding's home. While there, they asked Caroline about his whereabouts, and she stated that he was staying in Carpinteria. However, his body was actually rolled up in a carpet in the home. She allowed them a cursory search, and they left. However, that caused a little bit of panic in the group, and they decided to move his decomposing body to her apartment. This is Caroline Hurling's apartment in West Los Angeles. Caroline and her assistant carried Charles' body to the third-floor balcony of this apartment. They poured a concoction of chemicals, such as acid and lye, to decompose him. When that didn't work, they took his remains, chopped them up, crushed his bones, put him in vacuum-sealed bags, drove him up to the San Francisco Bay, where a co-conspirator who owned a boat was waiting for them. We never found Wilding's remains.
But there was still more to uncover.
We kept digging, and we found out that Charles was not her only victim. She had multiple victims, with the same scheme of taking over dead persons' estates, often through the U.S. mail and through the court system. In one case, Caroline and her co-conspirators inherited an estate fraudulently to the tune of $1.7 million. In another case, they sold a home to a man not living there for $1.5 when it was worth $3. In this last instance, the victim of that $1.5 million home was already suffering mental stress. He eventually committed suicide when he could not get the home back. During the investigation, we learned that Caroline Hurling purchased a home using proceeds from her fraud. We searched that home and her apartment in West LA. Between both places, we recovered numerous guns, fake police badges, including FBI credentials. We also found evidence that she was practicing the signatures and signing the names of various victims. And we found evidence of drug trafficking, and some of which was through the U.S. mail. With the three victims together, it was nearly a $3.9 million mail fraud scheme.
Because there was no body, it was difficult to prove a murder case on the state level. But the paper trail left by Hurling and her Confederates made it easier to prove a federal case.
Caroline Hurling pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison and also ordered to pay $3.8 million in restitution.
During Hurling's sentencing, The U.S. District Judge said Wilding was a man and a human being, but Herling did not see that and instead treated him like a cash register. No one should be treated that way. Postal inspectors vigorously pursue those kinds of con artists who prey on vulnerable, older Americans. And we don't stop until justice is served.